nice.
Okay, Sharon, go for it. Shake your booty.
Great.
Don't show your boob.
I think I'm covered. Good morning. Thanks for coming out, guys. So we're gonna make chocolate bacon pecan sticky buns. And we're gonna start with a brioche dough, which I actually made last night. Because you want to chill it for two reasons. One, you want it to slowly proof, and two, you want it to be easier to work with, right? So here's my brioche. All right, and we're gonna come back to this in a second. So first, we're gonna start with the filling, which is what we call the sticky schmear, or the spread, which in a normal sticky bun is made with sugar, butter, and whatever flavorings you want to put into it. Well, in this case, I decided to use my good friend bacon fat. So I have some crispy bacon, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reserve the fat. Fat's sexy, right? Love fat. So we're going to add our bacon fat to our brown sugar, and we're going to cream it, just like we were. Do we have power? All right, cool. We're going to mix it by hand. We don't have power, but it's fine. This is a really rustic, home-style dessert. So I'm just going to work it by hand, no worries. So now we're going to add in maple syrup and corn syrup. So essentially this sticky spread, when it bakes, is going to bake into a caramel, all right? So that's what's going to create the stickiness. So we're going to beat this until it's light and fluffy. And then, you know, nothing says good morning like Woodford Reserve. Nothing like whiskey in the morning.
Oh my God.
Don't worry, it cooks off some of it. I like cooking with whiskey or bourbon because it imparts a lot of flavor. You know, you get the smokiness, you get the vanilla, all which complement chocolate really well. So all of the flavors in this bun are really meant to complement or enhance the flavor of chocolate. People ask how I stay so skinny as a pastry chef, and this would be why. All right. So our sticky bun spread. Oh, how could I forget? Chocolate show, right? So we're going to add a little bit of cocoa powder to this sticky smear. So we're making like a cocoa caramel. Now the cocoa powder in here is going to do two things. First of all, it's going to absorb some of the fat when it cooks, so caramel is going to be really gooey. It's not going to be that kind of liquid caramel. It's going to be nice and chewy. All right, great. So now we're going to go back to our brioche, right? So now we're going to assemble the buns. Now this is kind of my favorite part. So instead of flouring, right, brioche is a really fatty dough. So if you floured it, it would still stick to the table. So you want to kind of lube up your surface, and, you know, nice block of butter does the trick. It's okay, I don't need it anymore. It's fine, guys. Don't worry about me. Thanks. And then you also want to butter up your rolling pin. And of course, if you have extra fat, you can use it as moisturizer. So now we're going to take our brioche. And if you made this brioche the same day, it would be way too sticky to roll out. Oh, we don't have the mirrors this year. Never mind. I was going to say you guys can see. So I'm rolling this out to a 12-inch by 24-inch rectangle. So now we're going to take some of our sticky smear and put it down on the brioche and form a thin layer. smell that bourbon. If I wasn't awake before, now I am. Alright, so now, with some chopped hazelnuts. And some ground Valrhona 61% extra bitter chocolate. Just so you get chocolate kind of in every little fold of this sticky bun. So now we're going to prepare our tins. So we're going to take a scoop of this sticky schmear and put it in the bottom of each of the tins. Now we're going to add our hazelnuts. And we like the whole sexy hazelnut on top, right? You want the ground in the middle, but you want to see the hazelnut, right? What am I forgetting? Oh yeah, bacon. Alright, so we're going to take our bacon, finely ground it, and I honestly find that my hands are the best tools for this. A lot of times in pastry, as you can see now, the high-tech stuff doesn't always work. Sometimes you just have to go low-tech. And then we'll also put some bacon down in the tins. It's also helpful while cooking to have a bucket of water to wash your hands. You don't have a sink. Alright, so now we're going to assemble our buns, and we can throw those samples in the oven now. So we're going to start from one edge, right? So you want to make sure this is cold so you can manipulate the dough, right? And we're going to start rolling from one end to the other. And you want to make sure it's nice and tight, or else it's going to separate as it bakes. So you see, well, you can't see. Yeah, if you guys want to see what's happening here. We're just making a roll of the brioche. It's like a lovely... Ah, no worries. Alright, so now we have our log, right? So now we want to slice them into inch-long slices. And you can, I always discard the end, but you can bake it off and do something else with it, but I know it's horrible to waste, but if it's not pretty, well, this is kind of raw, you probably don't want to eat it, but, so right, so you see what we did? We have our nice little pinwheel, chocolate, bacon, hazelnut, and now we're going to just stick this down into the goo. And I always yell at my staff not to cut directly on the stainless steel, but it's not my steel and it's not my knife, so I don't really care. Do as I say, not as I do, as I frequently tell my staff. All right, so now we're gonna let these proof. So we're gonna let these rise. So, you know, in the restaurant, we have proof boxes. At home, just put it in a warm place, lightly covered for about half an hour. Another trick is, if you have a double oven, or if you have an oven that you're not using, you can put it in the oven with a pot, with like a pan of boiling water, and you've created kind of a homemade proof box. So we'll let these rise, and then they only take about 12 minutes to bake, right?